The Sorento is Kia's largest SUV, and this improved version of the third generation model offers the kind of typically complete package we now expect from the brand. This enhanced design is embellished by a smoother automatic gearbox with 8 speeds and greater efficiency. And as before, it sells in the upper part of the SUV D segment, offering more space and 4x4 prowess than the cheaper class contenders provide.
Kia wasn't really interested in giving this third generation Sorento model any real degree of sportiness, but it did want to match inherent toughness with extra smoothness and refinement. Hence the installation in the revised version of this car of a freshly developed 8-speed automatic gearbox, which is standard at the top of the range and which is optional on most lower order models. Now this offers up to 5 different shift and throttle programs, accessed through a drive mode select setup that can sharpen up the steering and the gear shift timings for a sportier feel. This transmission also slightly enhances efficiency. It improves it to 43.5 mpg on the combined cycle and 170 grams per kilometre of CO2. Power still comes from a 197 bhp 2.2 litre CRDI diesel engine that delivers the kind of pulling power necessary to properly endorse this model's tow car credentials. Manual models can tow along up to 2,500 kilos. As for handling, well, Kia stopped short of compromising this model's tough practicality in pursuit of the sharper dynamic responses that some pricier rivals offer. The refinement is quite impressive though, and it makes this Sorento a willing partner for longer trips. And the quicker reacting Dynamax 4-wheel drive system offers plenty of tarmac peace of mind in poor conditions, as well as decent capability in the rough. There have been no across-the-board visual changes with this revised model, but the range has gained a couple of top, more dynamic-looking GT line variants. We have the flagship GT Line S version here. At the front, the sleek nose section styling helps to disguise the sheer bulk of this large SUV, the long bonnet flowing into a prominent chrome-framed interpretation of Kia's usual tiger nose front grille. That featured a distinctive three-dimensional diamond pattern. Shall we take a seat at the wheel? Well, that's what designers from the European premium brands have been doing over the last few years, keen to see just how much Kia is now capable of in this, its flagship SUV model. The plasticky utilitarian feel of the previous generation pre-2015 era model is now a distant memory, replaced by this Mark III design with smart wraparound dash that extends into the doors and offers slick soft touch surfaces, lovely satin brightwork, piano black trim and controls with clear classy graphics. Go for a plusher model like this one and you're even given one of those trendy TFT virtual displays to replace the conventional instrument dials. Take a seat in the second row and there's also a great feeling of space, partly because of the extra legroom that's been built into this third generation design, but mainly because the designers have managed to all but eliminate the previous model's chunky transmission tunnel. Now it's a pity that you can only access the third row from the curb side of the car, and access to this third row would be better if this seat tumbled forward rather than merely sliding back and forth. Once you're in though, there is, as advertised, more room than you'd usually get in the rearmost pews of a typical D-segment 7-seat SUV. That's been made possible in this third generation Sorento design by an 80mm increase in the wheelbase, and that's freed up just enough room to more comfortably accommodate the couple of full-sized adults who would have been, well, significantly more cramped in the previous generation version of this car. Of course, with these rearmost seats in place, there isn't much room for luggage, but then of course that's true of any 7-seater which isn't directly based on a van. With all 3 rows in place, you get 142 litres of cargo space. Now if you tug on these boot levers to fold the third row chairs, that capacity figure rises to 605 litres. In short then, for all kinds of reasons, this is now a contender that you'd like, rather than merely one that it would be very handy to have. The kind of SUV that might surprise you, as increasingly modern Kias tend to do.